welcome to our weekly video. Let me tell you about my trip this week. We decided to take a little journey, a little vacation on taking our son Mendel to camp in Tustin, Michigan. Camp Gun Israel, based out of Detroit, has a beautiful campsite in Tustin, little town of a couple hundred people. And we decided instead of just going on, just putting him on the bus with all the other kids, let's go, we'll rent a little house, half an hour away, and we'll have a nice time as a family. So we did that, and we stayed in Hersey, Michigan. It's a tiny little town on a farm. It was a great time. But, we're looking for things to do. We decided to take a trip to Cadillac, Michigan, the car. Cool car, maybe it's a cool town. All right, we go up to Cadillac. There's not that much to do there. It was nice, quaint town. We're walking down Main Street, and I keep thinking to myself, I wonder if there are any Jews. And I look up Jews of Cadillac. There's no synagogue. There never was a synagogue there. There probably never will be a synagogue there. And this whole area of Western Michigan, unless you're right on the water or Grand Rapids, basically there's not much in these rural areas, these farming towns. Really not a whole lot going on there as far as anything really, but certainly as far as Jewish communities, there's nothing for miles around. Between Grand Rapids, there's something maybe in Traverse City. There's not a whole lot. Anyway, we go into a shop. It's a pawn shop. They sell all sorts of trinkets and little things that people have traded in, mainly tools and weapons and some lots and lots of old DVDs that people traded in. And I'm looking around, maybe there's a deal, maybe there's a bargain, maybe some trinkets that we could take home with us as if we needed them. But anyway, I see the owner. I chit-chat with him for a few minutes. I said, are there any Jews around here? He says, me? I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this. The owner of the shop is Jewish. His name is Samuel. And we got into a whole long conversation. And of course, I put him in touch with my colleague in Traverse City, Rabbi Shem Tov. I'm like, if you come out to this area, you got to meet up with Samuel in the shop on Cadillac's Main Street. Unfortunately, I didn't have my tefillin. I didn't have some Shabbos candle. I didn't bring it with me to Cadillac, which I regret because every Chabadnik needs to be holding those things at all times. Anyway, I was thinking to myself, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with Samuel? Actually, what he told me was, he says, I know a couple of other Jews in the area. I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe Shem Tov could set up a Chabad house in Cadillac. Anyway, the next day, on Monday or Tuesday, we decided, we got to do something else. What else is there to do around here? There's the county fair. And I have no idea what a county fair is. If you've never been to a county fair, you're in for a surprise. Basically, the county fair, traditionally, for hundreds of years, is a place where people bring livestock and they compete. They show off their most beautiful horse and the most beautiful sheep and the most beautiful chickens and everything. And we go there, I tell you, for a Jew from the city in a county fair, you're like in the wrong spot. But any people are schlepping their goats and their pigs and their rabbits and they're trimming the hair of their goat. And it's like really an interesting experience. Worth it. Definitely worth it. Definitely interesting to see all these horses and people are parading and how much they're worth and this and that. Anyway, we come across these kids shaving their sheep or doing something with the sheep. And the grandma's sitting nearby. So I try to be friendly. How you doing? I'm from Chicago. We come here. We're city people. And she's like, oh, I used to be a city person too. And it turns out a lovely Jewish lady raising sheep up the block from where we were staying in Hersey. I'm like, you got to get in touch with the Jewish community. There's no Jewish community, but maybe from Traverse City. And sure enough, she gives me her email and I send it off to Rabbi Shem Tov. I'm like, I got another one for you right here. So there is my little story of our journey this week. And of course, we dropped off Mendel in camp and he's having a blast. But it got me thinking about the Parsha. Because the Parsha is Maasei. Matos and Maasei. It's a double portion. Maasei means journeys. And the Torah, as the Jewish people are coming to the end of their sojourn in the desert, lists the 42 places that they stop in the desert. Now, granted, they weren't traveling all the time. In fact, in the place known as Kadesh, they stayed in the same spot for 19 years. The Torah says Yamim Rabim, many, many days, which means many years actually. So it's a myth to think that they were constantly on the go. But they made 42 individual stops where they sort of set up camp before they got to the Jordan River at Jericho, ready to cross over. But the Torah doesn't say these are the places they stayed. It says these are the journeys. And the question is, why do you call it journeys? If you read the Torah, it says they journeyed from here and they rested there. The places mentioned are not the places they traveled, the places they rested. They set up camp. They rested overnight or for days or for years. Those are not journeys. Those are settlements. I mean, you could argue one way or the other. But the point is, why does Dafka especially call it a journey? The Baal Shem Tov explains that life is a journey. We're constantly moving, traveling. There's a destination. The destination globally, nationally as a people, it's Mashiach, to reach the perfection of the universe, of our world, of everything, of humanity. But individually, it's our own growth. And as we go through life, we have to be constantly moving higher, better, greater growth, an incline upward. It's interesting, the use of the word journey. You know, there's no such thing as a staycation. I don't believe in staycations. Because a staycation means you're at home. At home, you have a vacation, there's laundry, there's dishes, there's things to do. That's not a staycation, even if you're not formally going to work. A journey means you leave where you are and you go somewhere else. And that's how life is. At life, we have to take steps where we actually leave behind something of the past, some negative trait, and we move to something higher, something greater. If we're still hanging on to that, we haven't grown, we haven't moved, we haven't traveled. And the Torah says these are the travels of the Jewish people when they left Egypt. They left the state of Egypt, the state of being in servitude to the Egyptians, that state of negativity, idolatry, and whatever else was encompassed in Egypt. And they moved forward to the promised land, to the holy place. And every step was another journey, another departure from something lower to something higher, a complete and absolute move. And as we journey through life, we encounter all sorts of experiences that we hope will propel us further. Sometimes it's a decline. But as Hasidus explains, every decline is really for the purpose of an incline, of an ascension. And even when we decline, the whole hope is that will propel us to something greater, something higher. As I took my little trip this week, I wonder if that journey is going to have some effect. Who knows, on the people that I met? Who knows? That the story has not yet been written. It's not yet been completed. But every journey that we take is with a purpose. And maybe my purpose was just to meet a Jew in Cadillac or a Jewish woman in Hersey. Who knows? It's all part of the journey. With that, I wish you a good Shabbos.